Quakes starts. One of the most frightening natural phenomena is the earthquake. Sadly, the Philippines is always hit by tremendous earthquakes that causes great damage to the environment, infrastructures, and also result to loss of lives. This lesson you will learn to differentiate the epicenter of an earthquake from its focus, intensity of an earthquake from its magnitude, and active from inactive faults. No one can stop earthquakes from happening, but there are things that people can do to avoid or reduce loss of life and damage to the properties. The first step is to have a clear understanding of the occurrence of an earthquake. Have you experienced a strong earthquake? What did you do? If not, you can even ask your parents to tell you their experiences during a strong earthquake. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to differentiate the epicenter of or the epicenter and focus of an earthquake, describe an earthquake in terms of its intensity and magnitude, and define and identify the different active faults and inactive faults in it. Where does an earthquake start? The breaking of the rocks will start at the point where the rocks are weakest. This spot where the first break occurs is called the focus or hypocenter. Hypo means under or beneath. The focus is the origin or the center of the earthquake. It is located underground. A point on the surface of the earthquake, which is directly above the focus of an earthquake, and where the earthquake's vibrations reach first is called epicenter. Epi means surface. How strong is the earthquake? An earthquake may be described in two ways. It could be intensity and magnitude. Okay, the intensity of an earthquake gives us an idea of how strong or weak the shaking is, or simply by describing the effects of an earthquake on people or surroundings. So we have here the difference between the magnitude and the intensity. When we say intensity, it is about the energy released by an earthquake at the focus. It is also calculated from earthquakes recorded by an instrument called a seismograph. While intensity, it is the strength of an earthquake perceived and felt by people in a certain locality. Intensity is generally higher near the epicenter. Now we have PHIVOLCS, means Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology. So this agency class, the PHIVOLCS or the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, uses the PEIS or the PHIVOLCS Earthquake Intensity Scale to describe the intensity of an earthquake in the Philippines. We have PHIVOLCS Earthquake Intensity Scale or PEIS. Okay, we have the intensity scale from 1 to 10 and we have a description here. Okay, let's start of the intensity 1. You will experience scarcely perceptible, and we have intensity 2. You will experience slightly felt, and intensity 3. It's very weak, or it's a weak, and intensity 4, you will have an experience of moderately strong. And intensity 5, you will experience strong shaking of an earthquake. So as you can see here, there is a descriptions of each of the intensity from 1 to 5. Okay, please see yourself here and read some of the description itself. Okay, we have PHIVOLCS Earthquake Intensity Scale or PEIS. Okay, If you experience intensity 6, means you have a very strong intensity. Intensity 7, you will have experience of destructive. And if you experience intensity 8, you will experience a very destructive. And intensity 9, you will experience devastating. At the same time, if you experience intensity 10, it is completely devastating. So as you can see here, there are descriptions presented in these slides, and you will read it for yourself so that you may know what category is your experience about intensity of an earthquake. Another way of describing the strength an earthquake is by magnitude, because according to Richter scale, also called as the Richter magnitude scale, is a measure of energy release. The greater the magnitude, the stronger the earthquake. Take note, seismograph class is the device in order to measure how huge or strong the magnitude of an earthquake is. Okay, we have a magnitude and intensity scale. Okay, in the left side class, if you experience a magnitude of 1 or 2, you will have a less. Okay, it's a minor. And if you experience 4, you will have a very light or often felt but only cause minor damages. But if you experience 5, it's a moderate, and 6 a very strong, and magnitude 7 is major, and 8 is great. So here are some of the descriptions of each of magnitude that you will identify on it. Okay. We have also the intensity. Okay, the intensity scale, actually it was discussed in the previous slides from intensity 1 to intensity 10. So in here you will see the description of damages when you experience the level of intensity of an earthquake. Where do earthquakes occur? So most earthquakes takes place near the edges of tectonic plates. Okay? A fault line is defined as a geological fracture wherein the movement of masses of rock has displaced parts of the earth crust. So a rapid movement of a fault line may produce a powerful energy that can trigger a strong earthquake. So there are 5 active fault lines in the country, namely in the Western Philippine Fault, the Western Philippine Fault, and the South of Mindanao Fault, Central Philippine Fault, and the Marikina Valley Fault System. What is an active fault? An active fault class is defined as a move within the last 10 years. Okay, base of movement, historical and contemporary seismicity on earthquake activity, and you'll experience a fault slip or displacements based on displaced rock or soil units of known age or paleoseismology, and displaced landform, or we called it the active faults geomorphology. So these effects of movement on an active fault include strong ground motion, surface faulting, tectonic deformation, landslide and rockfalls, liquefaction, tsunamis, and sieges. Fault classification. First, an active faults are structures along which we expect displacement to occur. So the process that produces displacement across a fault continuously. So all shallow earthquakes occur on active faults. Inactive faults are structures that we can identify but which do not have earthquakes. If a fault has been inactive for millions of years, it's certainly safe to call it inactive. Okay, we have here the distribution of active faults and trenches in the Philippines. Okay, as you can see here, you can see the active faults and trenches or trenches that is found in the Philippine map. Okay, please see it for yourself. Okay, we have here. Okay,